Many years ago, all the worlds were one, in a time before Kingdom Hearts was swallowed by the darkness and all the worlds were scattered. This all happened because of the Keyblade War, a dark day in the history of Kingdom Hearts. But then again, the game wouldn't be half as fun as it is now if all the worlds were one. So, out of all the worlds we know today, which ones do I like the most? Neverland, Kingdom Hearts 1. I've got a question for you. Why does Peter Pan always fly? Because he never lands! Oh man, that joke never gets old, does it? Much like Peter. Yeah, Neverland's a pretty awesome world altogether. For every reason that a world could be awesome. It progresses the story of the whole game in a meaningful and proper way, and it's also got its own little story that's told not only very well by itself, but also ties into the bigger story as a whole. And most importantly, the scenery and feeling of this world is just done right. You're pretty much only on Captain Hook's ship, and there's also the London Clock Tower. Yeah, Neverland is not ever even seen in a world called Neverland. But the feeling of the world is just right. For everyone who's ever been to Disneyland Paris, oh god, you can count on me being one of those people, this world manages to feel similar to the Peter Pan ride in that park. I honestly have no idea how this ride compares to any other parks around the world, but it is a mysterious and dark but still fairy tale type feeling I love so much. It's a feeling that both this ride and this world have, but weirdly isn't at all present in the original film. I mean, does that matter? For this world and the list? No. Is it still a bit strange? Yeah, it sure is. Traverse Town, Kingdom Hearts 1. If you've ever done a speedrun of Kingdom Hearts 1, you might hate this town, because this is the story exposition galore. No, seriously, there's a lot of cutscenes here, which of course in a speedrun you will skip, but there's also a huge amount of speech bubbles which you have to mash through. It's a really good moment to just mash X button and look at your chat for a little while, but damn, this world is annoying. And you have to go there after every fucking thing you do. Well, not literally, but it definitely is your main base of operations. Aside from that though, it also is the first new world you see in the whole series. So yeah, that's bound to make a little bit of impact. All throughout the tutorials on Destiny Islands, which can take up to an hour if you're first playing the game, going out and seeking other worlds is made into a very big deal. Then when you actually get to one of these new worlds, it is a really big deal. Just too bad that you lost your friends in the process, so you got nobody to share it with. Well, a good thing you can replace them conveniently pretty much right away. Timeless River, Kingdom Hearts 2. So, in Kingdom Hearts 1 we all wanted to go to Disney Castle, right? It was right there on the world map, teasing us. I remember rumours that if you 100% of the game, this world would open up to you and you could get the Kingdom Key D there. Of course those rumours were just that, rumours. But still, by just placing this world on the world map, people went crazy for it. Enter Kingdom Hearts 2. After going through a couple of worlds, you actually end up in Disney Castle. Even this place has now been invaded by the Heartless, and after playing around the castle for a little bit, it's not that big, you get into the real world here. Timeless River. After being hyped so much for Disney Castle, it's weird to find out it's not anything special, and pretty much all it's useful for is being the door to an actual different world. Square Enix? You're a bunch of trolls. Can't even be mad about it really, it's goddamn genius. I'm too shocked to be mad. I like worlds where you change your appearance, like Atlantica. Although, fuck Atlantica. Or Halloween Town. So entering Timeless River was a really pleasant surprise for me. Donald and Goofy look like the old cartoon counterparts, and even Sora has gotten a makeover to fit in. There's also duplicate versions of Mickey and Paige in this world, which ends up being at least somewhat fucking hilarious. Altogether, it's just a nice world. It's a little bit useless in the grand scheme of things, to be honest, but it feels like what I described before. Fan service giving us Disney Castle without giving us actually too much of Disney Castle. Twilight Town, Kingdom Hearts 2. The longest tutorial known to man. I can only imagine what Kingdom Hearts 3 will be like if this trend keeps up. Anyway, starting Kingdom Hearts 2 you suddenly play as Roxas. Who the actual fuck is this guy? Well, the game doesn't bother telling you, that's for sure. After a little while you start hearing things about Sora, which makes you actually start getting annoyed at the game, because where the fuck is Sora and who the hell is this Roxas guy? It's a pretty great setup for all the stuff that comes after this, later in the game. Then, when you can actually manage to play 358 days over 2, there's places where Roxas, Axel and Xion eat ice cream every day after the missions. It truly starts to feel like home at that point, which makes the final battle against Xion all that much more emotional when you're fighting in front of the very clock tower you used to have ice cream on together. The World That Never Was, Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 1 had the end of the world, which admittedly is a bit of an overly grand name for a world, but then Kingdom Hearts 2 has the World That Never Was, which is a great name. Not only does it really sound mysterious, it also goes really well with what a nobody is, something that doesn't actually exist. Anyway, this world has a good balance between story and epic action. This is the last world in the game, so you're pretty much at Sora's most powerful, unless you count the optional bosses, which are so much above what this world even has to offer. Anyway, you take on the remaining organization members one at a time, cutting down on numbers until there's just one left. Xemnas, the leader. All the boss fights are unique too, and when you get to Xemnas, he doesn't fuck around. This is the longest string of fucking boss fights ever. You have to fight him one-on-one first, then you fight his fortress, I guess? Then you move up a level and you fight what I guess is a power generator. Then you fight him in his armor. That seems to be it, because then he disappears and you all go home. But at the very last moment you and Riku stay behind to fight his dragon form. And then you fight his armor form again. This time though, he's significantly more powerful. And then finally his final form. And then just try to realize that there was supposed to be even one more form. I can see why they cut that one, because come on, that's getting slightly ridiculous. Castle Oblivion, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. People really hate this game, eh? I can see why, but I still don't dislike it as much myself. As a matter of fact, the world it sets in, I quite like. The mystique you feel in this castle. Always thinking that this castle is made by the organization as a second headquarters. It's even mentioned that way a couple of times. It makes sense that it feels empty and cold. It's just like the castle in the world that never was, and the nobodies themselves. Then, at the end of Birth by Sleep, you find out that Aqua is the one who made this castle, out of the land of departure to protect Ventus. Wait, what? So yeah, the organization is here to find Ventus. All these retcons are making my head spin. Freudlands, Kingdom Hearts 2. Did you know this world was supposed to appear in Kingdom Hearts 1? Well, something about the first game being made, technical bullshit surrounding the engine, made that impossible sadly. But when developing Kingdom Hearts 2, the dev team made sure to leave enough room to make a whole separate movement engine just for this world. How they managed to do that is way beyond me, but that means that the first game was either programmed way too inefficiently, or they pulled some Crash Bandicoot levels of efficiency with this game. So this is a world where Sora transforms, and you know I like a transformed Sora. But this is not just a different outfit, he actually turns into a lion. Aside from making the whole furry community go wild probably, it actually plays really nice and smoothly too. Lion Sora wields his Keyblade in his mouth because he uses his paws to run, and he's much faster than normal Sora. This comes at the cost of losing most of your normal abilities though, but I like it, it's balanced properly. And I mean, come on, how can you not appreciate a world that has an engine made just for that specific world? And what? What do you mean, Atlantica? Hollow Bastion, Kingdom Hearts 1. This world was built up so much in Kingdom Hearts 1. You see the evil Disney villains and later Riku and Ansem there. This is evil people's headquarters. Then, when you get there, you are sure this is the final world. You'll beat Maleficent and be done with the game. Maybe Riku will even turn into a good guy again. Well, it's not that easy, you see. First, this world takes forever to get through, starting with you losing your Keyblade. Well, you get it back after a fair bit of trouble, but still. Then when you get to Maleficent, it turns out Riku is the next boss fight. Even better, Riku is the final boss. What do you mean, he's not the final boss? There's another boss after him? Okay, so now that the keyhole here is sealed, we're done, right? But wait, there's a whole other world? Then in Kingdom Hearts 2, it's made into essentially Traverse Town, which just feels wrong. I know after the world was freed from darkness and all, it's not evil anymore, but everything just seems so goddamn wrong. The Keyblade Graveyard, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. This is the place. This is where the Keyblade War actually happened, and it's where Xehanort tried to recreate it. I am still sure that this is the place where Kingdom Hearts 3 will also end, either this or Destiny Islands. Anyway, there's not much more to say about that. It was first seen, more or less, as the stage for the battle against Terra in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, and then properly in the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. The whole climax of Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep takes place here. For all the characters, it just feels epic. all three characters are experiencing the most epic and difficult fight at the same time. What's more, the fight against Vanitas has a deeper layer, because while Aqua is fighting Ventus Vanitas, Ventus is at the same time fighting Vanitas inside his own heart. How awesome is that? Halloween Town Kingdom Hearts 2. Did you guys see this coming? Because this is either way too obvious or it's a huge surprise. I don't think there's much room in between those two options for this entry. So Halloween Town in Kingdom Hearts 1 was awesome. The fact you got different outfits, the way it looked compared to all the other worlds, and the Heartless seemed to be more detailed because of the grainy filter this world had. Might be my favorite Kingdom Hearts 1 world, to be honest. And then along came Kingdom Hearts 2 and made it even better. It did remove some areas like Oogie's Mansion, which, yes, it makes sense, but I would have still liked to explore it a little bit. Then again, they did include Christmas Town, which isn't that big either, but I love it. What's more, in the final mix version of the game, you even get a Santa outfit for Sorrel and Christmas Town. I really love different outfits. Can you tell? And of course you get the decisive Pumpkin Keyblade here, which is the best Keyblade in the game, so how could I not like this world? This world allows me to be overpowered as shit.